It's Friday, August 12th, and this is your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski with a look at the latest news around southwestern Connecticut and a rundown of our most read stories of the week. Frank will join us later with a Nutmeg sports update and a look at the forecast, and Donald Ng will take a look back on this day in history. But first, on to today's news. Police say a Shelton woman was driving drunk and on her phone when she was involved in a fatal car crash that took place on River Road in May. On Thursday, 23-year-old Samantha Monaco surrendered to police and was charged with second-degree manslaughter, operating a motor vehicle while under the influence, using a cell phone while driving, and failure to drive right. The arrest stems from the May 6 fatal head-on collision that took the life of Rosemarie Dwyer on River Road in Shelton. Police say they determined that Monaco was under the influence and was on her cell phone at the time of that crash. In a statement released by Shelton Police Lieutenant Robert Kozlowski, it was also determined that Monaco crossed over into the southbound lane of traffic, causing the head-on collision. Monaco was released on a $25,000 bond and will appear in court on August 25th. And in other news today, Milford police have charged a woman with cruelty to animals for allegedly leaving 5 animals behind when she abandoned a house on Mayflower Place. Police said 2 of the dogs found in that home had to be euthanized because they were in such poor health. According to a police report on July 27th, the Milford Police Department received a complaint of possible cruelty to animals due to a house being abandoned at 92 Mayflower Place. An investigation led to the arrest of Tamisa Fawcett, 45 years old, of Naugatuck. Fawcett was charged with 5 counts of cruelty to animals. She was released from police custody and will appear in court on September 6th. And Hearst, Connecticut media reports that a California man driving a car covered with politically charged writing and images on a cross-country mission to desecrate temples was arrested Thursday morning near one of the sites for the Jewish Maccabee Games. 53-year-old Yoon Chul Shin of Berkeley, California, was spotted about 9:30 in the morning driving his radically designed blue Toyota Celica on Roxbury Road near West Hill High School, where a lacrosse game was being played. The game was part of the JCC Maccabee Games and Arts Fest, which has drawn thousands from around the world to Stamford this week for the 6-day sports and arts contests. Officers pulled Shin over near Temple Beth El, and a police bomb-sniffing dog indicated that there was an explosive compound or mixture inside the car. However, the bomb squad did not find any devices or materials during a more than 2-hour search. Police, however, did evacuate the temple and close Roxbury Road during that search. Sergeant Aaron True said bomb squad members and robots carefully combed through the compact car, which was loaded with clothing, religious documents, aluminum foil, and pyramid sculptures that only left enough room for Shin to sit in the driver's seat. And a 21-year-old Trumbull man is facing multiple charges stemming from an alleged drunk driving crash last year that killed one of his friends and injured several others. Anthony Teixeira, a 2012 Trumbull High graduate, died several days after a rollover crash early Thanksgiving morning left him with severe head injuries. Now, having received blood test results, police have charged the driver in that crash, Tyler Graziano, with 1 count of second-degree manslaughter, 2 counts of second-degree assault, and driving under the influence. Police said a group of 5 friends, including Graziano and Teixeira, had gone out to several bars the night before Thanksgiving. Though it was not his vehicle, Graziano was behind the wheel of the Nissan Pathfinder when it flipped over on Beardsley Parkway at about 1 a.m. Teixeira was ejected from the vehicle, suffering severe head injuries. The other passengers suffered injuries ranging from cuts and scrapes to broken bones. And Shelton police have made their second arrest in the investigation of a home invasion reported back on January 8th. 32-year-old Oscar Rosado of Bridgeport was arrested August 10th for his involvement in that incident. According to a statement from Detective Chris Nugent of the Shelton Police, Rosado was taken into custody by Bridgeport Police and turned over to Shelton Police, where he was charged with home invasion, conspiracy to commit home invasion, first-degree robbery, as well as unlawful restraint and conspiracy to commit unlawful restraint. You can get more details on that arrest at sheltonherald.com. And in recent weeks, Darien police have received reports of burglaries occurring at homes under various stages of construction, including a recent theft of $27,000 worth of new kitchen appliances from one home and another case of stolen painting equipment at another. Police say homeowners and contractors should be aware that certain measures can be taken to minimize the chance of being victimized. First and foremost, when taking deliveries of items, police suggest they should be very securely stored, or the contractor should consider security services until such times that the items can be installed or secured from being stolen. They also suggest posting warning signs to keep unauthorized persons off the site, consider video monitoring, as well as not leaving tools, equipment, or supplies visible or accessible, and using only high-quality locks, never leaving keys in locks or leave locks in an open position. But there's some more tips on that at DarienTimes.com. And Stephen Chan of Wilton was reviewing some images from a camera set up in his Belden Hill Road backyard, expecting to see some birds at the feeder when a visitor of a very different nature showed up. It was a bobcat. According to the timer on his camera, Chan said the bobcat came on Tuesday, August 9th around 2 in the afternoon. The bobcat is the only wildcat found in Connecticut, and its numbers have been on the rise in recent years. It was classified as a protected fur bearer back in 1972. More on that at wiltonbulletin.com. But we're going to switch gears now and throw it over to Frank Granito for a look at the forecast. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. In a lot of homes without power after the big storms last night, we also just found out there's an excessive heat warning in effect for Fairfield County until 10 p.m. on Sunday night. Heat index values Friday through Sunday could reach anywhere from 105 to 110 degrees. Overnight lows will be at about 80 degrees. Starting with today, though, mostly sunny, temperatures in the low 90s, but it will feel a lot worse out there with the humidity at about 75%. There's a chance for scattered thunderstorms throughout the day, more likely in the afternoon, and we could see some rolling in overnight. Saturday will be another scorcher, temperatures in the low 90s, and that's when the heat index will start to work its way up towards 105. It'll be mostly sunny in the morning, but again in the afternoon, chance for passing thunderstorms, and they could be as severe as the ones we had yesterday on Thursday afternoon. Sunday will be another hot and humid day, most likely the hottest of the weekend. Temperatures could make their way up to as high as 95, and that's when you could see it at 110 on the heat index. Expect a couple showers and storms to roll through in the early afternoon all the way till about midnight Sunday night, where we'll see a couple more stray storms moving in before Monday morning. Kate, it is only getting hotter, and it looks like it is going to be that way at the start of next week, too.
All right. Thanks, Frank. Well, we're going to step out for a break, and when we come back, Donald Eng will take a look back on this day in history. Frank has a Nutmeg Sports update, and we have some more local news coming up after this. Have a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, open Monday through Saturday, now in 2 locations. The iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
Hi, this is Leo Carl from Carl Chevrolet in New Canaan. And you've heard me talk about the Chevy Volt for years. The new model gets 53 miles on EV charge daily, plus 420-mile full range. But don't take my word for it. You need to come in and test drive the Volt yourself. Visit us at 261 Elm Street in New Canaan or online at carldirect.com.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Drop off your knives to be sharpened, grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers, and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
I really wanted something that felt like a home. Coming from a big house, I wanted the feel of a home as opposed to a condo. The construction is incredible, whether it's the floors, the fireplace, the moldings, the lighting. It's as peaceful as my home was in the middle of the woods. It feels like a house. It does not feel like a condo or a townhome. I feel like I'm in my house.
You're watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. More than 1.5 million viewers have watched our live sports, news, and entertainment broadcasting since the network launched in August 2015. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Welcome back to this Friday, August 12th edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, and it's time to throw it over to Donald Eng to take a look back on this date in history. Don.
Well, Kate, it was a dark day for sports fans, but first we go to 1676. Praying Indian, also known as John Alderman, shoots and kills Metacomet, the Wampanoag war chief. This ends King Philip's War, probably the deadliest war you've likely never heard of. Metacomet had adopted the English name King Philip in honor of the previously friendly relations between his father and the original Mayflower Pilgrims, but he went to war over the continued encroachment of European settlers onto his ancestral lands. Believe it or not, during King Philip's War, more than half the towns and villages of New England were destroyed. It took about 30 years before the population to recover. Also, the fighting essentially eliminated the native tribes in New England. To 1981, the IBM personal computer released. The generic term personal computer had been in use as early as 1972, but because of the IBM personal computer, the term PC came to mean specifically a microcomputer compatible with the IBM personal computer products. Of the dozens of personal computers on the market in the 1980s, only the Apple Macintosh kept significant market share without compatibility with IBM's. 1990, Sue, the largest and most complete Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton ever found, at about 92% complete, is found by archaeologist Sue Hendrickson in South Dakota. About 12 feet tall at the hips, 40 feet long, and with a 5-foot head, Sue the dinosaur, is estimated to have weighed as much as 11 tons. Sue is now on permanent display, I'm still talking about Sue the dinosaur, at the Chicago Field Museum. Finally, now we go to 1994 for this.
The season was officially canceled with a press release issued by Major League Baseball, supported by the signatures of every team but two, the Baltimore Orioles and the Cincinnati Reds. Later, as a fitting symbol of how far apart the players and owners are, Bud Selig and Donald Fehr held news conferences in two separate cities, each reminding us of the reason there will be no World Series, the salary cap.
That is the 1994 Major League Baseball players go on strike, wiping out the best season in Montreal Expo history. This will force the cancellation of the 1994 World Series and the shortening of the 1995 season. Fans retaliated with protests and by simply staying home. Attendance would drop at Major League games by more than 25% over the ensuing years and would not recover until the now infamous home run chase of 1998. That is your look back in history for today, August 12th, and I'm Donald Eng.
Thanks so much, Don. Well, getting back to a little news today, Connecticut Congressman Jim Himes will be talking lumber at Richfield Supply Company today. According to a press release, the congressman will be taking part in the Lumber Dealers Association of Connecticut's Yard Tour Week. Congressman Himes will be showing his support for the LDAC, which directly employs more than 2,400 Connecticut residents and contributes more than $1 billion in the state's annual sales revenue. Richfield Supply Company is located at 29 Prospect Street. But let's throw it back over to Frank Granito now for a Nutmeg Sports Update. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. Both Fairfield American and the Norwalk 10s were facing elimination yesterday against opponents who had not only beaten them early in their respective tournaments, but had beaten them with ease. And both Connecticut teams came out on top, advancing to fight another day. In Bristol at the Little League New England Regional Tournament, Fairfield American was matched up against Bedford, New Hampshire, who they lost to 7-1 in their opening game. American tacked on 21 hits and scored 17 runs in a 17-11 win in a marathon game that lasted almost 3 hours yesterday at Breen Field. Fairfield held a 7-0 lead after 2 innings and had their eyes on that 10-run mercy rule, but Bedford finally responded in the bottom of the 4th with 7 runs of their own to knot things up. Teams traded blows in the 5th, leading the score at 11-10 heading into the final inning, where Fairfield added 6 more runs in the top of the 6th and closed things out in the bottom half to advance to the losers bracket final this afternoon. Fairfield will play against Wellesley, Massachusetts, and at 1 o'clock today, and that game can be seen live on ESPN. The winner will move on to face Warwick, Rhode Island on Saturday with a berth in the Little League World Series on the line. And down at the Cal Ripken World Series in Florida, the Norwalk 10s also had revenge on their mind when they took the field against an undefeated Poughkeepsie team who beat them by 11 runs in just 4 innings in Game 1 of this Cal Ripken tournament. That wasn't the story yesterday, though, when Norwalk bested Poughkeepsie 8-4 in the second semifinal game of the night to advance to the national championship game against Glen Allen, Virginia at 6 p.m. this afternoon. Trailing 4-2 heading into the 4th inning, Vicky Ward ripped a 2-run double that tied the game. After that, Will Stalzer's RBI single plated Ward to give Norwalk a lead that they would not relinquish the rest of the night. Glen Allen is the number 1 seed from the national pool, is also undefeated in the tournament, and they beat Oregon 12-2 in their semifinal game to advance to the championship. Again, that championship game will be played tonight at 6 o'clock down in Florida. Kate, we want to wish both those teams the best of luck, and we'll have a full breakdown of those tournaments on Nutmeg Sports next week.
All right, awesome. Thanks so much, Frank. Well, getting back to a little more local news, the New Canaan Parks and Recreation Commission is considering an increase in the rental rate for Waveney House for events, which would mark the first hike since 2007. Park and Rec Chairman Sally Campbell said at the Commission's August 3rd meeting that Waveney House is the cheapest place locally to host a wedding or other event. Recreation Director Stephen Benko said that the average rate around the area for a non-resident is $3,000 to $3,300. Benko said that the rate for non-residents or residents renting Waveney House is roughly 60% or 40% respectively. Campbell suggested that the price should be the same for residents and non-residents. However, Benko said that he did an analysis of the cost several years ago, which indicated the cost they charged residents covered their expenses for the house. But there's a lot more on that story at ncadvertiser.com. And Connecticut Free Shakespeare and Festival Stratford are moving heaven and earth this year to bring a professional production of Shakespeare's most boisterous comedy to the public for free. A skillful, hilarious adaptation of William Shakespeare's Taming of the Shrew will be performed on the grounds of the American Shakespeare Festival Theater in Stratford from Wednesday, August 17th through Sunday, August 21st from 8 to 10 p.m. The play is appropriate for all ages, including the young, and actors are courtesy of the Actors Equity Association. It is traditional for attendees to picnic ahead of time and get seating nearest to the stage. There will also be music by Jazz for the Spirit on the lawn from 6 to 8, courtesy of Festival Stratford. And the grounds of the theater are on the banks of the Housatonic River, and the moon will also be full on the 18th, so that would be a good time to go. But finally, a Darien police officer recently had an assignment that was a little bit out of the ordinary for the department, rescuing a tiny fawn that had fallen through a driveway drain. The rescue was captured on an Instagram video, as you can see here. According to Sergeant Jeremiah Marin, residents walking their dogs along that unnamed Darien street heard cries coming from the vent. When the police responded, Officer Stu Schwengerer was able to pull the tiny deer from the grate and helped it wobble to its feet. This is not the first time that Darien police have rescued an animal. Several years ago, officers were led in the middle of the night chase after some runaway horses near the Ox Ridge Hunt Club. Well, we're so glad that that fawn made it out safely. But we are going to step out for a break, and when we come back, we're going to recap the top stories of the week. They got the most hits across all of our websites. We also have one final look at the forecast with Frank. That's coming up after this. For more than 50 years, Triple S has been Fairfield County's expert service for carpet, upholstery, and drapery cleaning. We provide the best in repairs and in-depth restoration, understanding fabrics and how to properly clean and restore them. Our staff will come to your home to clean your wall-to-wall carpet to perfection. We can also pick up your fine carpets and bring them to our facilities. With locations in Norwalk, Stamford, and Stratford, Triple S will get the job done fast, big or small. At Triple S, you can count on our people as well as our cleaning. Find us at triplesclean.com or 203-847-8000.
I really wanted something that felt like a home. Coming from a big house, I wanted the feel of a home as opposed to a condo. New Canaan is 6 minutes down the road. New Canaan's a beautiful little town to walk around. I work in Westport. My commute is 20 minutes. It's close to Westchester, where my family is, so the location is ideal. There is no other townhome that compares in the area. This is where I want to be.
At Cabbage Patch Nursery School in Ridgefield, playtime is learning time. Using out-of-the-box activities and programs in science, dance, Spanish, Taekwondo, and so much more, learning is made fun. Aside from interactive classrooms, our center features a sensory room, computer lab, and a large outdoor space for playtime fun. Our carefully chosen staff believe in a supportive, safe environment and keeping you updated on your little one's experience. Cabbage Patch Ridgefield, helping shape your child's future. 29 Farrar Lane in Ridgefield. Call 203-340-1250 to register today.
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter. And I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune in to Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office.
I'm Frank Granito.
And I'm Donald Ing for the HAN Network.
Tune in to Nutmeg Sports Monday through Wednesday, where we bring you all the top stories for Connecticut sports.
From players and coaches' interviews to expert opinions with local sports editors, no one gets you closer to Connecticut's games than Nutmeg Sports.
Nutmeg Sports, Monday through Wednesday at 2 p.m. on the HAN Network.
We're back on this Friday edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, and since it's Friday, we're taking a look at the top stories across all of our HAN Network community news sites this week. And one of those top stories was the tragic news that a veteran Stratford dispatcher died after her car crashed early Monday morning at Paradise Green in Stratford. Police Deputy Chief John Popick said that 35-year-old Laura Price of Seymour was heading north on Main Street in her vehicle at about 12 in the morning Monday when the car crossed into the southbound lane near Fenelon Place. Popick said the vehicle left the roadway and struck a tree. Price was taken to Bridgeport Hospital and died a short time later. Popick said the investigation into the crash will take several weeks, and they're exploring all possibilities that may have contributed to the cause of that crash. Price was a Stratford emergency dispatcher for 8 years. Prior to that, she had served with the Shelton Fire Department. The Stratford Town Council held a moment of silence in Price's honor prior to its regular meeting on Monday. And another top story this week is how the community in Darien is rallying around a family whose life has changed drastically. The Brown family has lived in Darien for 26 years. Jennifer Brown is a teacher and plays piano for their church, and her husband Gordon went to MIT and is passionate about building and helping others. But tragedy has struck in the family as a result of a fall at a family event in Iowa. Gordon has become paralyzed from the chest down, having suffered a severe spinal cord injury. The Brown Family Friends, or BFF, have begun efforts to fundraise and support the Browns as they cope with what has happened. Fundraising efforts kick off on Friday, August 26th. The Spadtastics, a Grateful Dead cover band, will be playing from 6 to 10 in Tilly Pond Park. The concert itself is free, and BFF will be there accepting donations, but you can get more information at DarienTimes.com. And in Milford, there were no serious injuries Tuesday morning when an elderly driver crashed through the front wall of a downtown law office and landed inside the building. Firefighters, police, and building officials were at the scene Tuesday morning as firefighters worked to remove the Honda from the building. Fire Department spokesman Greg Carmen said an elderly woman crashed through the front wall of Kapusta, Otzel, and Averamo law offices on Broad Street, a building fronted by large glass windows. That happened at about 8 in the morning. Police are investigating the cause. One person was inside the office at the time, but she took cover in a secure room and was not injured. The driver was treated on the scene for minor injuries and taken to Yale New Haven Hospital for follow-up. And another story that got a lot of attention this week is from the Ridgefield Press. It appears that Ridgefield's Dog and Pony has slipped out in the middle of the night. The American casual dining establishment located on Ridgefield's historic Main Street was not open on Tuesday, and there were no signs hung in the store's window to insinuate that there would be a reopening or that the closure was only temporary. The restaurant's outdoor furniture had remained in place earlier this week, and tables looked prepared for service with utensils and napkins set out. But you can look for updates on that story at theridgefieldpress.com. And finally, as you've heard on Nutmeg Sports this week, many are excited about local athletes in Rio. The 2016 Olympics in Rio have a New Canaan flavor, as 3 local athletes were in action there. Thomas Dunston was named to the U.S. men's water polo team, and Charlie Cole and Andrew Campbell are members of the U.S. rowing team. Dunston and Campbell are first-time Olympians, while Cole earned a bronze medal in the men's 4 at the 2012 Games in London. So very cool, Frank, and I know you've been keeping up on that on Nutmeg Sports.
Absolutely, and Andrew Campbell will actually be rowing it'll be this afternoon. Andrew Campbell will be rowing for a gold medal, so we wish medal.
There you go.
We wish Andrew the best of luck.
Awesome. But one final look at the forecast.
Yes, and we do have some breaking news. A hazardous weather outlook has been issued for Fairfield County and the surrounding area with high heat and possible thunderstorms through the weekend. The thunderstorms could be capable of producing torrential rainfall and localized flash flooding. An excessive heat warning is in effect until 10 p.m. on Sunday. Heat index values Friday through Sunday could reach anywhere from 105 to 110 degrees. Overnight lows will be in the 80s. The combination of heat and humidity will increase the risk of heat-related health issues, especially for the elderly, those with chronic health issues such as lung and heart disease, and those working outside. The National Weather Service advises to use air conditioning or go to a place that has air conditioning and to check on any vulnerable friends and neighbors and reschedule strenuous activities until the early morning or evening or possibly even next week. So a lot of bad weather coming this weekend. Heat in the morning, and we could see some very severe storms at night, Kate, similar to the one we had yesterday.
All right. Well, we hope everyone stays safe this weekend. Frank, thank you so much. We're going to wrap things up here on your coffee break. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday at 11. Enjoy.